Transitioning from a seatbelt to rear strangle grips when we're working with the gi. Most of the time when we are training no gi, we're focused on a seatbelt grip. That's to say, a situation where we're behind our partner and we have head and arm control like this, okay? The reason is because we need to have our head very tight to our partner's head. The major strangle, of course, from here is a standard rear naked strangle, okay? To do a good rear naked strangle, you need your head tight to your partner's head. So the seatbelt grip, where we lock our hands in front of our partner's chest and we bring our head forward, is a very, very good position for this. Even when our partner goes in to start to defend the strangle here, go ahead, we have the ability to strip our partner's hands off. We have the ability to use cross gripping methods to get our hands up, all these different things. Things change a little bit when we're working with the jacket, and the reason is because when we're here nice and tight, sometimes when we're committing our hands in this way, it's difficult for us to get a hold of the gi. Now there are methods that we can use, we'll talk about some of them, but the idea is that when we're here, the seatbelt makes sense, but transitioning can be difficult. So how you can make transitioning easier, that's gonna be the subject of what we're gonna cover. Whenever we're behind our partner and we have an initial grip here and our hands are locked and our partner brings their hands in and starts to fight, it can be hard, especially if your partner knows what they're doing and they use the cross arm on our wrist here. It's not gonna be easy for you just to get a good collar grip. So in a situation like this, when we find our partner getting a good control, it's much easier for you to pass the gi from one hand to the other in order to feed. So rather than going hunting for the gi collar with this hand where he wants to hold it and kind of keep it down, now at best I'm gonna get a grip super low, but kind of defend from here. It can often be very difficult to put this hand in. It's much easier if we use our second hand to open and then feed the lapel across to our choking hand, okay, to our strangle arm. So without his hands inside. Instead of trying to just like put our thumb inside, we'll use our non-strangle arm to open, our underhook arm to open, and then physically put the gi in our hands here. So that's the thing that's gonna make a huge difference for you, because if you're here in the seatbelt grip and your partner's pulling your hands down and you try to feed the jacket just by grabbing it, it's gonna be difficult. So instead, wherever we are, whichever side we're on, we tilt to the side here, the underhook, and we're going to work, we're gonna use this second arm here, this one, to open and then pass the gi through, okay? So that's the first thing you can do. Okay, the second thing is, when you get your other grip, the second hand is usually best used on this lapel here, okay? On our partner's second lapel. There are strangles that you can use where you're covering your partner's wrist, but oftentimes you'll find that you get a lot more bang for your buck when you put your other hand in your partner's lapel. Thumb goes in here. So we have thumb in the top hand, thumb in the bottom hand. This hand that goes inside, it can be low. It doesn't have to be super high. So usually, again, when kind of contrast is, when we're in a seatbelt, we want both hands up high. Okay, we can't afford to have one hand drifting down low. But once you get your collar strangle grip here, when your partner starts to pull this, pull down, you can put this hand anywhere. If his elbows are in and you can't get this hand up high, you can actually put the grip in a little bit lower. Lastly, when we go to finish and strangle our partner here, we don't want to keep our head tight by their head. This is something that we do in no-gi. Okay, we do want to have our head here. When you go to strangle your partner, you actually want to take your head away rather than keep it tight. Why? Because in this extension allows you to get more contact between your arm and the collar and your partner's neck. When you're in tight, your elbow's forward, it's not easy to get that connection. But when you take your head away and you start to go into extension, it makes the job easier. So, number one, you're here in the seatbelt. This is great for no-gi because we can pass our arm through easily, keep our head by our partner's head, and then strangle from a position where we're relatively close. When we're working with the gi and we have this grip, don't just try to unlock your hands and start grabbing your partner's collar. Instead, open the lapel and feed it to your strangle arm. Next, the second hand goes directly to your partner's collar on this side. You don't have to fumble around to start to strip grips. Third, when you go to finish here, make sure that you're not keeping your head tight to your partner. Okay, again, it seems like something that you should do, but in reality, it makes much more sense for you to extend your head away from your partner. And it's at this point where you can start to engage your legs and really, really get a strong pull to be able to finish. So there are some very key differences when you're looking to strangle your partner, gi and no-gi. If you're primarily working with no-gi, you'll find that your habit is to get a seatbelt grip that keeps you tight. That's a good starting place with the gi, but it's not where you want to finish. You want to be able to get yourself into a place where once you've gotten your lapels, you've made that transition, you're able to create distance and extend. So if you take some time to practice the transition between a seatbelt grip and the collar grips, you're going to find it's going to get smoother and easier as you go. Thanks so much for watching. See you soon.